All right, good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, November 13th, and welcome to Coffee with Marcus and Mark. Hey, Mark, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, Marcus, I'm doing great. Hello, everyone.
All right, another week of trading, and keep in mind, next week is the Thanksgiving week. So next week, things might go crazy, but we'll talk about this here today. But let's see, who here wants to make money with trading? Type in a yes in the chat box. Oh, yeah, exactly. And who here wants to make enough money with trading so that you can quit your job? Oh, yeah, type in a yes, exactly. And who here wants to make so much money with trading that you can travel the world and live the lifestyle you always dreamed about? Yes, 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 absolutely. We want that for you because for most of you here with us today, this is going to be a long term relationship between us. I promise you. Because once we show you how simple this is, once we show you an easy way to trade, once you realize that this actually works, and once you realize that you can do this too, you will want to hang out with us for a lifetime. I promise you that. So let's see, what are the markets doing this morning? In the upper row, we have the E-minis, and we have the E-mini S&P in the upper left. We have the Nasdaq in the upper middle, and we have the Dow in the upper right. And Mark, all three indices are pointing down this morning.
Yeah, it looks like we're off to a negative start. Things just dropping into the open. And we talked a little bit about it in the newsletter, how there are some things that traders are keeping an eye on that are kind of pointing to a possible drop. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring up here the chart of the Dow Jones. So this is the daily chart of the Dow Jones, and as you can see, I mean, we had black bars for quite a while, and it definitely looks like we are forming a top here, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely, especially that that push lower. I mean, it took out some areas of support, and then Friday was just that kind of a mixed close. But then as we head into the open here, heading south, we could start to see a little bit of a turn. The question is how far it will go. We don't know, but it definitely looks like we're in that scenario. I mean, even Friday, the VIX closing with a weekly close. Closing, I think, at a 2-month high or something like that. Like VIX being the fear index tracking S&P premium. So it looks like people are expecting some more volatility and a possible move.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the VIX is it is tracking the volatility for the next 30 days, right?
Exactly.
So this is where it means that the market should become more volatile in the next 30 days, and usually it means a drop. So, I mean, this is definitely interesting as we get into the final stretch of the year here. And we have been talking about a possible crash for a long time, and more and more warning signs are pointing to it.
Yep. Yep. In
All
the
right.
newsletter, we mentioned even junk bonds. I know that, junk
Yeah.
bonds normally aren't on our radar, but just think about it. Investors wanting to try and capture some extra returns tend to put money into more risky investments when everything's going great, right? If there's lower risk of default and loss, then they're willing to be a little more aggressive. And if they're concerned, then they take money out of those riskier investments and want to play it safe. Well, junk bonds, looking at the ETFs last week, they had one of their biggest drops of the year last week. So it looks like people are kind of starting to pull money out and play it safe, seeing what's going to happen here as we head into the holidays.
Yeah, and I also wanted to bring up a chart of crude oil here. Because crude oil also had an interesting move last week. And as you all know, we like day trading crude, so that's fantastic. Oh, what did I pick up here? CL3, right? Yes, dash 067. Here we go. So crude oil had this massive move up where we broke out of these 52 range and went all the way to 57, 58 here. So this is where crude oil is right now in an uptrend, and I like the volatility that crude oil is still showing. That is fantastic for us as day traders.
Yep. Yep, we're starting to see some. As long as we can pull away from this 57 level, right now the 57 mark seems to be the line in the sand for traders,
Yeah.
and we're getting some nice movement in crude oil. I think that if we could break away from 57, it's just going to be all that much easier to trade.
Yeah. And so this morning we started
But
off
it makes for
the
some
week.
good Seahawks.
Yeah, exactly. This week, this morning, we already started off the week with a winning trade in crude oil, so that's always nice. And we have the next order in the markets here. And I know, Mark, that last week you talked extensively about the ladder here and how to use it in day trading, right?
I did. I did. We took a look at that, talked about order types and the connection with Infinity. So uh, it was a good session, and we have an order sitting at 56.84, looking for another Seahawk.
Yeah, let's see. We'll keep an eye on this here during the session. But let's also take a look at the economic calendar and see what's happening here this week. Because especially when day trading, you want to be aware of this, of what's happening, to make sure that you're not trading right into a major report. And here's the calendar that we like to use from forexfactory.com. And this is how the week shakes out. I mean, earnings season is winding down right now, but we have quite a few economic reports here this week.
Yeah, things pick up with the economic calendar. Definitely, this week the focus is going to be on retail as far as earnings go. Like you said, it's winding down, but we have some retail outlets that will be reporting earnings. And today, no major reports. Tomorrow, Fed Chair Janet Yellen is speaking in the morning. That's outside of our trading hours, so probably won't have an effect on what we would do. PPI data being released tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. And then looking at Wednesday, we have CPI data, retail sales data, Empire State Manufacturing. Really busy morning, all at 8:30 a.m. So with how we trade the markets, really wouldn't be an issue for us. But these are the type of things that can get the markets moving. So we'll see if on Wednesday some of that data can get the markets moving in either direction.
Yeah. Yeah, then the crude oil inventories that we always have on Wednesdays. So when you're trading crude oil, watch out for your trades around this time, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, because this is when the markets gets volatile. Thursday, unemployment claims, again, this Eastern time, so it's an hour before the markets opened. And then on Friday, we have the building permits and housing starts, also an hour before the markets open. So for day trading, the indices, really not a whole lot that is happening during the trading session, but a lot before the session that could affect the markets.
Yep.
All right, good, fantastic. So this is starting the week off. I mean, first of all, with a winning trade, that's always good. We have a couple of stock positions that we have been tracking, as you know, EMES and HIIQ, so they're doing good. So let's see, what would you guys like to know? What do you want to ask us? What is important to you this week? And again, while you're typing in your questions, also keep in mind next week is the Thanksgiving week. The Thanksgiving week is traditionally a little bit slower, but I mean, right now with what's happening, we could also see a very volatile week as traders are not as present during this week because yes, many people are taking a holiday. So we'll see what happens there next week. All right. Well, gold, we also see that gold had the huge drop on Friday and right now bouncing back a little bit here. But I mean, gold overall, let's just bring it up here on a daily chart as well. I mean, gold hasn't been as volatile this year as we thought it would, right? I mean, we had this run up to 1350, then coming back, and now again trading in range here. So yes, we do have some swings, but no real breakouts in gold because especially when we look here at weekly or monthly bars, let's actually go to monthly. We see that pretty much since 2014, 2015, gold has been lingering around here between the 1200 and 1300 level for the past few years. Yes, we did have a few months where gold dropped, but then bouncing right back. I mean, but compare this to the run that we had in 2000, from 2000 to 2013, basically, where gold was just going up, 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 up and away. So, Mark, what do you make of this?
Yeah, when I look at this, I think that gold's getting ready to move one way or another. I mean, we see that it's kind of winding up. It's making, if we look at a bigger perspective, it's making lower highs and higher lows, and so it's just tightening up in that range. When it will break out, well, that's anybody's guess, but to me it looks like it's getting ready. And I mean, just over the last couple of days, yeah, we've had some movement, but then it's really just been stuck. So similar to crude oil, trying to get away from that 57 mark. We're not trading at 1300 in gold, but I think that that's that barrier that
Right.
gold is encountering. And if we could get past the 1300 mark, I think it opens up the door for gold traders.
Yeah. So there's a few questions that are popping up here in the chat that PowerX Analyzer did not give any new signals. That is correct, and that is good. And here's why. Let's just go back to the daily chart of the Dow Jones, and we can also look at the S&P. You see, as you can see right now, we are in a transitioning phase. Black bars mean that the market is going sideways. Now, in a sideways market, as you see up here, or as you also see down here, right, where we have the black bars, or then earlier here, when the market is going sideways, you're not making any money. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me zoom out here again. And I wanted to bring up this here. So what we are looking for, obviously, is trends. Now, why do I bring up the Dow or the S&P or the Nasdaq? It doesn't really matter because, I mean, these are the indices and they are moving as all the stocks in the indices are moving. And right now, this is what we are seeing, that lots of stocks are in this transitioning phase. So lots of stocks here are actually moving sideways here right now. And this is why PowerX Analyzer is not issuing you any trades, because we are looking for breakout trades. So as you know, while the markets were just going up, this went fantastic. You had 3 to 7 trades a day. But right now, I mean, there's three positions that you can have in the market. It is being long, it is being short, and it is being out of the market, sitting on cash, right, Mark? I mean, this is what we always say. And
Yep.
yeah, I mean, at this point, I also have more in cash because we see that the markets are transitioning. Now, once they start going to the downside, we again will get a lot of signals in the PowerX Analyzer and we can trade the markets to the downside. But right now, I know that you all want to trade and want to be in positions, but sometimes not being in a position is the best choice.
Absolutely.
So Brian says PowerX did give a signal. It depends on your criteria. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it depends on your filtering, and you know that we have certain recommendations that both Mark and I like to use. So the settings that we use did not produce any signals for us here this morning either. But you see, for me, that's absolutely fine because in addition to trading stocks and options, as you know, both Mark and I are also day trading and also using binary options. So there's always something to do here. And this is why it keeps us busy for an hour in the morning. But yeah, don't be too concerned about this. If there is no signals, it is good because sometimes it is better not to be in a position at all than being in a losing position, right? And you see, also for me, years ago, I had this little voice in my head that said, well, if you don't trade, you don't make any money. Well, here's the newsflash. If you don't trade, you also don't lose any money. So again, not being in the market is absolutely an active position that you can take here. All right, good, fantastic. So what's happening with the binaries here this morning, Mark?
Yeah, we had signals to consider in crude oil and the NASDAQ, but right now with crude oil, where we're trading, we do not have anything that's going to trigger anytime soon. We need to get above 57.35. Right now we're trading at 56.80.
Right.
So possible buy signal in crude oil if we get a move higher. And in the NASDAQ, we need to trade above 63.14 and a quarter. So
well, and also the binaries are clearly showing us right now that the markets are in a transitioning phase because we're not as active on the binaries. Because the same here, we want to see, I mean, the binary signals are based on the PowerX strategy. So we want to see green bars. We want to see that we are in an uptrend or that we are in a downtrend. And yeah, if you look at the Dow Jones here right now, or if you look at the Nasdaq, NQ 067. So this here, the Nasdaq. Oh yeah, that's the one that still going up. But S&P, this is what I wanted to bring up, where we also have black bars, right? And black bars meaning that the market is going sideways. Same probably here for gold, right? Are we right now in, yeah, black bars here in gold? And so the same for silver. So this just all shows us that the markets are going sideways right now. And of course, they could continue their move up, especially the indices. But for me, the path of least resistance would be to the downside here. All right, Jerome is asking if we are trading Nadex spreads. Not at this point, not yet, but we are looking into this. I mean, they're becoming more and more interesting. Oh, by the way, talking about Nadex spreads, so we talked to the vice president of Nadex whether they would have binary options on Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin, very interesting here, as you know, extremely volatile. I mean, over the weekend, didn't we have a crash of 25% mark or something like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
so
went from like 7,800 to 6,200. I think it's up a little higher now, but all sorts of movement.
yeah, so this is what Dan said. It is extremely difficult to factor all this volatility in, right? Because it's just like crazy. I know that CME Group is has announced that they will allow trading futures on Bitcoin, or I think Bitcoin itself, and they already have circuit breakers in place. But you see, it doesn't really help because if they halt trading, I mean, Bitcoin will be traded all around the world. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're throwing a third circuit breaker, and the first one is at 7%, and it's only for 2 minutes, and then they have another one, and then the big one is, I believe, at 20%. They suspend trading, and this doesn't make sense to me because again, Bitcoin is being traded all around the world. So while Bitcoin is dropping, I mean, what is the CME group trying to do here? I mean, just
Yeah.
fighting a wildfire with a bucket or a fire hose. I mean, this. That
Bitcoin trades on the weekend too. So I mean, I think that CME offering Bitcoin is a big deal, but yeah, it's almost like they're being forced to offer it and they haven't thought it through all the way.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is what I saw last week, where they would halt it, and yeah, doesn't really make sense. All right. Anyhow, so this is what's happening here in the beginning of the week. Again, markets are in transitioning phase. We will keep an eye on possible Power X trades and hope that we get a few binary trades. Right now, the best bet, I mean, at least for us here, is day trading, and I mean, this is where we're benefiting from the volatility. We like trading. Um, boomerang trades in Nasdaq, and we like trading Seahawk trades in crude oil. So that's what we got for you. So you all have a terrific week. We will be back here tomorrow morning, as always, in coffee with Marcus and Mark. And we'll see you then tomorrow morning. Have a terrific day.
Happy trading, everyone.